Your Seaview Adventure took place on the island of Maui, the home of Mount Haleakala, the House of the Sun. The morning sun breaking through the clouds at the summit of the 10,023-foot Mount Haleakala creates one of the most glorious and breathtaking sunrise spectacles one can witness. Mount Haleakala actually rises 30,000 feet from the ocean floor, making it one of the tallest mountains on Earth. With a volume 50 times that of Mount Everest, it is also the world's largest dormant volcano. Its 3,000-foot deep, 19-square-mile crater could hold New York City's entire island of Manhattan. As one takes in this truly awesome sight, it is easy to understand why the ancient Hawaiians considered Mount Haleakala sacred and a center of spiritual power. To the west of Mount Haleakala, on the other side of the island, are the West Maui Mountains, the extinct volcano Mauna Kahalawi. Geologically older, its highest point is the 5,778-foot peak of Pu'ukukui. The eruptions of these two island volcanoes created lava flows that formed a connecting low, flat isthmus and gave the island of Maui its nickname, the Valley Isle, and the appearance, some have said, of a man's torso bent forward to closely examine its neighbor island, Kaho'olawe. With a total area of 728 square miles, Maui stretches 48 miles at its widest point and 26 miles at its narrowest. And with a linear coastline of 120 miles, Maui has more swimmable beaches than any of the other Hawaiian islands. Busy Kahului Airport on Maui's northern coast accommodates flights from the other Hawaiian islands and the mainland, as it welcomes nearly 2.5 million tourists each year to this beautiful island of aloha and rainbows. This marriage of land and ocean in Maui has been blessed by nature with an abundance of rain and sunshine, resulting in a paradise of tropical splendor. Maui is an island of truly exceptional beauty. And amidst this beauty, at certain times of the year, Maui's famous humpback whales may make an appearance as they frolic in the shallow waters offshore, to the delight of onlookers. And at all times of the year, there are spectacular views on the beautiful coastline road to Hana, famous for its winding road, as well as its well-publicized, many narrow, one-car-at-a-time bridges. And if it's recreational activities you seek, there are many on the island. Whether you're participating or just watching, some of the world's best windsurfing can be enjoyed at Ho'okipa Beach Park, considered one of the premier windsurfing spots in the world. Or there's taking advantage of the wind in a more leisurely fashion. The chance to swim and snorkel are everywhere, as are the deeper thrills of scuba diving. and making new friends. And with a board under your feet, there's fun when there's high surf, medium surf, or none at all. On land, cycling is a great way to enjoy the scenery, especially if it's all downhill. You can enjoy the view from the road on the outside of Mount Haleakala, or go hiking and enjoy the scenery on the trails on the inside of the crater. Or let someone else worry about the hike while you enjoy the ride and the view. There are many beautiful golf courses and wonderful shots to be played, as well as sets of tennis in beautiful surroundings, especially those at some of the major resorts on Maui. And of course, there are the simple joys of just being on the beach, whether it's for relaxing, tanning, reading, or just watching. From sun up to sundown, to a full moon over Haleakala, Mauians have good reason to voice their prideful claim. Maui no ka'oi. Maui is the best. The Seaview Adventure also brought you to Lahaina on the west coast of Maui. Lahaina is a charming town of culture and beauty, filled with shopping, recreational, sightseeing, and dining opportunities for its local population and some 2 million visitors yearly. A town filled with much historical significance, it was once the capital of the islands in the early 1800s. Lahaina's protected anchorage became a stopover point for the hundreds of boats going to and from Arctic whale hunting trips in the 1830s and 1840s. Lahaina's Front Street was a hotbed of activity as its grog shops accommodated thousands of thirsty and fun-loving sailors on leave. Today, Front Street is still an active site for tourists who populate its many stores, restaurants, and art galleries. In 1962, the entire town was declared an historical landmark. But it is in the water outside of Lahaina's harbor and along its shores where the Seaview Adventure actually takes place. Above the reef and along the coast, and amidst the countless species of marine life which exist here, is an exciting addition to Lahaina's waters: the commanding presence of a 56-foot-long, 100-ton semi-submersible craft designed for refueling. Maui's premier underwater excursion vessel, the Seaview. An attractive and beautiful vessel when viewed above the waves, it is below the waves where the unique design feature of Seaview can be seen and where its true function lies. The first semi-submersible vessel ever approved by the United States Coast Guard, the Seaview was designed for underwater refueling with nearly 350 square feet of specially constructed 1.5-inch thick windows. The 149-passenger vessel has 6 partitioned, air-conditioned viewing compartments with theater-like seats for the utmost in comfort and security. Seaview's passengers are also treated to an interesting and educational narration on the reef coral they are passing over, as well as the many varied species of beautiful and colorful tropical fish they feel they can almost reach out and touch as they sit suspended some 6 feet below the surface with a commanding view through 22 3-foot by 5-foot curved windows. Seaview's 100-ton weight is powered through the water at an optimum viewing speed of 2 knots by its 3 Cummins engines driving twin 36-inch propellers. Operating year-round from its home in Lahaina Harbor, the Seaview offers tourists worldwide of all ages, regardless of athletic ability or aquatic skills, a chance to appreciate the beauty and wonder of underwater life. With a set of stairs directly behind their seats granting easy access to the top deck or lounge area, passengers are spared any claustrophobic feelings, and the view couldn't be better. The Seaview Adventure begins at the Lahaina dock. After check-in with a boat representative near the historic Pioneer Inn, passengers make their way to the dock where they are met by the crew of the Seaview. After a brief welcome by the captain, passengers begin boarding. After all the passengers are safely aboard, a crew member immediately begins familiarizing passengers with various aspects of the vessel. Other crew members begin to release the mooring lines, and as soon as this is done, the Seaview Adventure begins. The captain maneuvers the large vessel away from the dock and turns around before heading out the harbor entrance. 85 elevated seats topside allow passengers a shaded and comfortable ride, as well as a panoramic view, as the Seaview makes its way through the Lahaina roadstead and out towards the coral reef. Passenger safety is one of the foremost concerns of the Seaview operation.
First of all, we'll start with life jackets, and we'll start with the main deck area, all the way towards the back of the boat.
Passengers are given a safety briefing as soon as the boat gets underway. Crew members indicate to passengers the location of flotation vests and life rafts. As the Seaview cruises along the reef line, the town of Lahaina and the West Maui Mountains provide a spectacular scenic backdrop.
You know, this area we're headed through right now is known as the Lahaina Roadstead. Roadstead is actually not...
Along the way, the captain gives the passengers an informative talk about the history of the former whaling town and surrounding area. Prior to reef viewing, the Seaview will anchor in shallow water for recreational activities. As the boat approaches its chosen mooring area, the friendly and personable crew mingle with the passengers. Often, they will familiarize them with the snorkeling equipment they will be using, or perhaps answer questions they might have about the trip. The Seaview is fully equipped to allow passengers the opportunity to partake in several recreational water activities. It carries not only a full complement of snorkeling equipment, but also flotation devices, viewing boards, kayaks, and dolphin diver equipment. Once the mooring area is reached, crew members ready the ladders on the Seaview's stern so passengers have easy access to the water. Huge circular floats that many enjoy swimming to and lying on are put overboard. Equipment is passed out as passengers make their choice of which activity they'd like to try first. Snorkeling, whether you use the popular flotation devices or not, is always fun due to the clear water and the fact that the Seaview always anchors in shallow water above the coral reef. For others, kayaking in the waters around the Seaview was the preferred activity. Some snorkelers decided a closer look at the coral or the fish was in order. So, for those that wanted to enjoy the deeper close-up advantages that scuba offers, but without the cumbersome equipment, the Seaview provides dolphin diver equipment. With this setup, the diver enjoys exploring the fish or examining the coral in closer detail, while simply breathing through the oxygen-providing mouthpiece. The diver gets his air from his tank, which stays in the plastic raft on the surface. The connecting hose between diver and tank means the raft and tank will follow the diver wherever he goes. Scuba for snorkelers. And of course, there was great enjoyment for the children as well. Families especially enjoy the Seaview activities that are fun for all ages. Often, crew members would help supervise the children both in and out of the water. In fact, all activities were carefully monitored at all times. Crew member participation often made the activities more enjoyable.
The one with the yellow tail there is called Hawaiian Huggy.
The chance to get out and enjoy the recreation offered by the Seaview in the refreshing waters off Lahaina made many of the Seaview passengers feel exactly as this kayaker did.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
When it was time to reboard, the shower on the bow provided a chance to rinse off before getting dressed. For many of the Seaview passengers who enjoyed the water, the feelings were the same.
Coral reefs was beautiful. I've only ever snorkeled one other time, and this was just as nice.
Unbelievable. It was great.
Okay, folks, we're just about to start the coral viewing part of our journey here, so at this time...
As the Seaview moved out to resume its journey along the coral reef, passengers were invited downstairs to enjoy the view and listen to an informative and educational recorded narrative. For Seaview passengers going below decks for their first view, it was a truly incredible sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, aloha, and may I also add, congratulations, for you are about to experience something that few people in the world have, a view of underwater life from one of the few boats of its kind in the world, the Seaview.
Adults and children now listen to their underwater hostess.
If you would please look at the colorful plastic fish cards you will find at your seat, you will see pictured some of the more common and colorful sea life you're liable to see in Hawaiian waters. So keep these cards handy and refer often to them to help you identify the many varied and exotic-looking creatures you may see today. A fun game for the children to play, and the adults too, is to see who can spot the largest number of different types of fish from the card. Extra points if you spot a turtle. As you sit suspended some 6 feet below the surface of the ocean, you are gazing upon some spectacular underwater scenery, normally appreciated only by scuba divers and snorkelers, and in a manner never before appreciated by boat passengers. As you look at the ocean bottom below you, it's fascinating to realize that over 1 million years ago, at the peak of the ice ages, when a growing ice pack drained the seas of great volumes of water, sea level in the vicinity of Hawaii fell hundreds of feet, and the ocean bottom we are passing over now was part of vast lava valleys, which had once been below sea level and were now joining Haleakala and West Maui to the separate volcanic islands of Molokai, Lanai, and Kaho'olawe, creating what is today referred to as Maui Nui, or Great Maui. It was 3 times larger than Maui is today.
After some facts about the boat and the geology of the islands, Seaview passengers are treated to some interesting aspects of the environment they are now viewing.
A coral reef starts with a single coral animal, or polyp. Although you would need a magnifying glass to see one, the body of a polyp is shaped like a sac, consisting mostly of a stomach and a tube made out of a jelly-like tissue with an opening or mouth in the middle. Around this mouth are tiny arms, or hollow flexible tentacles, which wave about in the water searching for food. These tentacles have stinging cells which can poison small fish swimming by. These microscopic fish, called plankton, are then pulled by the tentacles into the polyp's stomach. The polyp uses lime, or calcium carbonate, which exists in seawater in dissolved form, to protect its soft body by building a cup around itself, which becomes an external skeleton. Coral polyps that form these protective limestone skeletons are referred to as stony corals and are found mostly in warm and tropical seas. And these are the main building blocks of the coral reef you see below you. A typical coral reef has many colonies of living corals. Reefs grow as new colonies build on old foundations, often becoming a jungle of limestone branches, boulders, and many other varied shapes, from which they often get their common name. Do you notice how much of the coral below you looks like fingers reaching up? That's finger coral. Some coral formations resemble a head of cauliflower and are called cauliflower coral, or look like the horns of deer, hence staghorn or elkhorn coral. Oftentimes, coral fields are so filled and diverse, it looks like an underwater forest. In fact, a whole coral community has been likened to a limestone apartment building, containing the many inhabitants who all cooperate with their neighbors as they enjoy their adjoining accommodations. Indeed, a reef is the marine equivalent of a tropical rainforest in terms of the variety of life it supports. A coral reef needs an environment of water that is clear and warm in order for it to develop successfully. A coral reef grows best in an environment where there is sunlight, a warm temperature, plenty of oxygen, and a good food supply. Corals do not like water that is too salty, too warm, or too cold. That is why most coral reefs are found within the wide band circling the middle of the Earth, the tropical regions extending about 30 degrees on either side of the equator. And because shallow water is necessary for the development of reef-building corals, it is not surprising that many coral reefs are located near bodies of land, such as the island of Maui. I'm sure many of you have remarked upon the various colors of the coral. Most coral samples sold in stores have been bleached to make them a brilliant white. Many times, coral will be dyed a certain color for decorative effect. But coral can grow not only in a variety of forms, as we have seen, but also in different colors. Many corals are in a shade of brown, but others can be blue, red, pink, green, yellow, purple, and in much deeper waters than this, even black. The color comes partly from microscopic plants that associate with living coral. These single-celled algae, usually red or green, can bore their way into the polyps or skeleton. In addition to these outside influences, different colors are caused by pigments within the tissues of the coral itself. During the day, the amount of reflected sunlight that is present in these waters is relatively high. Although the rate of coral growth depends on many factors and varies from one species to another, it has been shown experimentally that the number of hours of sunshine is probably the most important influence on coral growth. And sunlight is not only important in the growth of coral, but for its survival as well. Studies have shown a great difference in the death rates between shaded and unshaded colonies. This explains why the most luxuriant coral growths are found in waters like these, well lit and relatively shallow. How are the fish spotting contests coming along? By now, everyone should have spied one or more of the different types of the very beautiful butterfly fish. Another easy to spot is the orange band surgeonfish, with its bright markings and the distinctive tail of the males.
At some point along the reef, a crew member will feed the trailing fish, and the resulting show seldom fails to elicit rave reviews.
One fish we would be remiss in not mentioning, if for no other reason than its name, is the triggerfish, which also happens to be the state fish of Hawaii.
Triggerfish.
Now, what's so special about that name? Well, I was referring to the Hawaiian name. Native Hawaiians had an elaborate system of names for fish, and many are still used and have become very familiar, at least to seafood lovers, such as the mahi-mahi and the ono. The ornate butterfly fish is called kikakapu, and the triggerfish? Try humu-humu nuku-nuku apua'a. That's right, the humu-humu nuku-nuku apua'a. With the few Hawaiian consonants in the Hawaiian language, some names are long tongue twisters. But since every vowel in the Hawaiian language is pronounced, it's not really that difficult to say humu-humu nuku-nuku apua'a if you look at the word and slowly and distinctly pronounce every syllable carefully. Look at the spelling on your Hawaiian fish card under the reef triggerfish and try it. Humu-humu nuku-nuku apua'a. It gets easier every time you try it.
Humu-humu nuku-nuku apua'a.
The trick is to remember it when you're back home and trying to impress your friends.
People really say this, don't they?
And Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Apua'a's many boat passengers did see. And from their ideal viewing position, passengers had an opportunity to see many of the colorful and varied species of fish that make the coral reef their home. And for many, the colorful plastic fish cards proved helpful in their identification.
There's a saddleback wrasse, two of them right there.
And for those that kept a sharp eye, there was no telling what might be behind the next coral formation.
Harleen, look, the turtle. See it? Yeah. See how gracefully it moves.
And for this passenger and many others, it is easy to wonder, when watching these graceful ballet artists of the deep, the giant sea turtles, what it might be like to be down there with them. But it was not only turtles that Seaview passengers were watching gliding effortlessly through the beautiful coral fields of Lahaina's reef.
There are 4 types of moray eel pictured on your card. These eels are perfectly adapted for life in the coral reef. They will be found tucked into crevices and holes as they wind their snake-like bodies around, under, over, and through coral formations as they seek food and shelter. When they are seen, their habit of resting with mouth agape gives them a frightening appearance. But in reality, it is merely a way to draw water over their gills to get oxygen.
Hey, you had your turn, remember? We're talking about eels now, so beat it. Sorry, go ahead.
Eels can vary greatly in size, but most will fall in the 1 to 4 foot range.
With the incredible viewing experience that Seaview offers, many passengers felt like this excited couple.
It was fantastic. The scenery was great. I didn't expect to see so many fish. The coral was beautiful. The narration was very interesting. I really enjoyed it, and I'd recommend it to anyone.
Oh, I had a great time. It really was nice. Really enjoyed myself.
For passengers visiting Maui during whale watch season, the Seaview changes its itinerary to include viewing trips, so passengers have a chance to catch a glimpse of the humpbacks which populate Maui's waters from roughly December through April. Seaview's large viewing windows give passengers the extra chance to see these spectacular creatures underwater, as well as the year-round inhabitants of Maui's waters. Yes, it's definite that Seaview's passengers do enjoy themselves. One has only to look at all the smiling faces to know that they are all having a great time. And the fact that one never knew what to expect had a lot to do with that. No 2 trips are the same, and passengers had the opportunity to see something exciting and different each time out.
Sharp eyes will spot some of the better-known members of the crustacean family of animals. Easier to spot on a dinner plate than in open water, this group includes lobsters, crabs, and shrimp.
And although lobsters are difficult to see during the day, passengers might notice the one in every group that marches to the beat of a different drummer.
about sharks? Those impressive creatures that play an important role in the history and lore of the Hawaiian people. If you have spotted one, it will more than likely be the one pictured on your card, the white-tipped reef shark. Although this species of shark is not that abundant in Hawaii, its habit of frequenting shallow water and remaining in localized areas makes it regularly seen on the relatively few reefs it does inhabit. Unlike the more common gray shark, which must keep oxygen-supplying water flowing over its gills by constantly swimming, the white-tipped reef shark can pump water over its gills while it rests motionless on the bottom or rests in a cave. As we head back now towards Lahaina Harbor, notice the reef inhabitants who, unlike the coral polyps who pull their entire bodies inside their skeleton for protection, do not need to protect themselves. Their bodies are covered with sharp spines that discourage predators, and they are called echinoderms, a word meaning spiny-skinned. Echinoderms feed on oysters, crabs, and other mollusks. But one species of sea star, the crown of thorns, feeds on the soft bodies of coral polyps. Looking like a bright green wreath, the crown of thorns is a huge starfish covered in thousands of toxic spines, up to 2 inches long. It has an enormous appetite, and as it rests on a bed of coral, will push its stomach into the reef's limestone corallites to reach the polyps inside. In large numbers, the crown of thorns can do great damage feeding on a reef. The Seaview would like to remind its passengers that it may take almost 100 years for a piece of cauliflower coral a foot across to grow. And it could take several hundred years for the growth of a staghorn coral head the size of a large beach ball. So please, always be respectful of coral and all other living things in Hawaii's waters. Man has been one of the main reasons for the disruption of the delicate balance of reef life, through not only large pollutants, but also individual cases of neglect and ignorance. Do you know that small fish, and especially turtles, can become entwined in the circular plastic holders on 6-packs of cans? Or that seemingly innocent items are harmful when thrown in the water? Help preserve the beauty of the marine environment you've enjoyed today by respecting it and being careful in your actions. This concludes the recorded narrative portion of your voyage. Please
With the narration over, some passengers remained in their seats to enjoy the view. While above deck, the ride back to Lahaina Harbor again provided passengers a spectacular view of the West Maui Mountains and coastline, and a wonderful photo opportunity. For some, this was a welcome chance to grab a few moments of rest after the day's activities, while others made a quick trip to the lounge for souvenirs and beverages. As the Seaview neared the end of its trip, the captain summed up the feelings of many of the passengers with regard to their Seaview adventure.
We offer something that none of the other boats in the area offer. It's a short trip. We have great coral viewing. We have lots of swimming toys for people that would like to swim. For those of you that would like to snorkel, the snorkeling is excellent at our snorkel spot. And the trip's just a lot of fun. I highly recommend it.
We hope that you'll remember your voyage today aboard the Seaview and visit us again soon on your next visit to Maui. Remember, Maui no Ka'oi, aloha and mahalo.
For information and reservations, contact your activities desk or our Seaview office in Lahaina at area code 808-661-5550.